This is Althea Jackson. Welcome to Metro Matters. I will be your host for the next 30 minutes. Metro Matters is a program with helpful information, resources provided by Louisville Metro government. There will be a variety of discussion topics, tips, tools, and resources.
Well, good afternoon. This is obviously not Althea Jackson. Ben Johnson, Assistant Director, Louisville Parks and Recreation, joining you for this week's edition of Metro Matters. Be remiss without saying happy holidays to all of our viewers and listeners, whatever holiday you happen to celebrate. Just enjoy them with your family. So every fourth Wednesday, it's the Parks and Rec edition of Metro Matters. So this is I said Saturday. That's their recreation mind. Every fourth Wednesday, it's the Parks and Recreation edition of Metro Matters. And so this is the fourth Wednesday. We'll be back again on January 24th if you want to just continue to follow us. But today is not really about us. It's about one of our partners. And that would be the Louisville Urban League. And I feel kind of special, like I've done something and scooped the rest of the local media and have the newly appointed president, finally, of the Louisville Urban League, Mr. Lyndon Pryor. Lyndon, how are you doing?
I'm good, sir, man. I'm glad to be here with you. You know, if you called, you know, I certainly had to show up.
Well, I appreciate that. So again, congratulations on the appointment. I think it's well deserved.
Thank you.
You know, you and I go back a little ways personally and professionally. So I've seen and worked with you on some things. But for the folks out there who don't know you as well, who is Lyndon Pryor?
Yeah, so I am a transplant to Louisville. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. So I am from the dirty South and love my hometown. But grew up in Houston, Texas, attended Texas A&M University, went on to attend the George Washington University, where I got a master's degree in education and human development, went back and worked at A&M in student affairs and still doing student development and all things education. And then in 2015, my beautiful and brilliant wife got the opportunity to come to Louisville and serve as the director for the Center for Health Equity here at Metro. And so that brought me and our 6-month-old at the time to the city, and I decided to transition out of higher education and took a job working at the Louisville Urban League. Sadiqa Reynolds, who had just transitioned into the role of president and CEO there, told me if I could write a grant to pay myself, I could come and work.
That sounds like Sadiqa. That really does.
It's the way she does. And so I did that. And basically started our community health program and really started our health department there at the league. And then just kind of began to move around and move up and ultimately landing in the role of chief engagement officer. So doing a lot of work with community, stakeholders, and folks around the city. And then in March was asked to step into the role of interim president and CEO. And so it has been quite a ride. I've gotten to see every part of the organization and lots of this city along the way and really have just fallen in love with the work and the opportunities that we have in front of us.
Cool, which is ironic because that's going to lead right into my next question is, why did you want people have a misconception and a misperception of being in the big chair. I tell folk, I'm a notch or two down, but that just makes you easier to get to.
Yeah.
And then you have the answer for everybody. And
Right.
then so you're part of a local organization. Well, you head a local organization that's a part of a national organization. Right. So if Urban League stuff hits the screen about New York, and then of course your role here, that's a lot. And I know a lot of people don't realize how much that is. So why, with your knowledge base, having seen it and growing up in it professionally, why did you say, you know what, I will be interim, and then literally threw your hat in for the permanent seat?
Yeah, you talk about like the connection to like what's going on in the world and to the National Urban League and what happens there. To be honest, like that part for me, is the easy stuff, right?
Okay.
Like that is the work. That is just kind of the everyday. The part that made this job real was recognizing that, I have 70 plus people who I'm responsible for, right? Like, and so
They forget that
responsible, responsible for in lots of different ways. And so to answer your question though, like what the change was for me was thinking about those people, right? Like in understanding over the time that I've been at the league, getting to work with some phenomenal colleagues, some brilliant individuals. And I'll say this, right? Like I try to say it everywhere I go. There's this misconception about nonprofits that you just got a bunch of people out here, do-gooders who are just doing the best they can, trying to help the community and not necessarily really skilled. But for most nonprofits, right? Like, and I will certainly speak for the Urban League, but I'll say this for many of our partners across the city. You are talking about brilliant individuals who are educated, skilled, who have lots of experience in their work, who are true professionals doing their jobs every single day. And so when I work with those people, and as I've worked with those people over the last 8 years, I recognize that I had the opportunity to not only be able to continue the work that we've started and everything that we've built over the last 8 years, but to be able to serve them and ensure that their dreams, that their goals and their aspirations, not just for themselves professionally or personally, but honestly for this city, that we could help bring those things to fruition. And so they were a huge part of why I tossed my hat in the ring, was because I wanted to be able to see everything that we built together come together for the good of all Louisvillians. And I didn't think that there was anybody who understood that or who could speak to that or who could continue that as well as I could.
Good, cool. And I'll disagree with you slightly. When you say 70, you talking about your staff and your team.
Yeah.
But when you look at your program,
oh yeah. You talk about tens of thousands of people that we are absolutely
maybe that's 70 every
responding.
day in the check in the family and the professional development, but your outreach is much broader.
Absolutely.
Broader than that. So you touched on some of that and the national stuff being easy. What has literally been your favorite thing about working for the league?
Man, it's the people. Like, I mean, the day I transitioned in, so March 20th, 2023, the thing that I told them is that, for me, the people matter, right? Like they are, and I mean that beyond just like, the skills and talents and the education that people bring, but to do this work, and this working in parks, right? Because it's the same with your staff. It takes special people to do that day in and day out, right? Like just about anybody who's skilled can come in and do it for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year, a couple years. But to do that work, as hard as it is, as trying as it is, sometimes as traumatizing as it is, to do it and do it well every single day, to show up with a smile on your face, ready to help no matter what's walking through that door, because you don't always know what's walking through that door every day. It takes really special people to be able to do it. And so to be able to work alongside some phenomenal professionals, that has been exciting, and they're fun, right? Like, because the job, and this as well, the job ain't always fun, right? Like the job comes,
the job is the job.
It is hard. Some days you cry, some days you want to yell. Like the job is hard. And so to be able to work with people who are able to make hard work fun and enjoyable, like it is truly the greatest blessing. And so that is absolutely among my favorite things to be able to do.
Right, that's fun. I guess that's why we get along so well, because I tell my team, I have the worst job in the recreation division, and I love my job.
Right.
Because I got to deal with the stuff you all don't have to, not complaining, took the job, love the role. But like you said, to do this all day, every day, and I got people well over 20 years. I got people now that are coaching the kids of kids they coached and all of this kind of stuff, because they've just been, been that committed. And it does take a special person. And sometimes I want to choke my own team. Like, do you realize how hard you work? Do you realize how special you are? Do you realize what it takes to do what you've done, for so long? And I'm actually working on a presentation talking about we say this is a profession, let's act like it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
because sometimes we let people kind of catch us up. You know, and they're, oh, well, you just play with kids. You just work in the communities.
Yeah, you just roll the balls out, right?
You don't even like your kids that much. You know, we dealing with them by the dozens.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
so you are absolutely right. So, and I'll go with when you first got to the league, or it could have happened later on. What's your biggest surprise about the league work?
Well, you know, honestly, so I grew up in Houston, and Houston has an urban league. But to be very honest, I did not know about the urban league in Houston at all. Like, I had no real concept of what it was, what it did. And so I knew about the National Urban League just because I love history. And so I knew who Whitney M. Young was.
Right,
I
and then
knew
you
what the
come here.
urban league. Yeah. So, you know, I knew about the national organization. But in terms of what was happening in local affiliates, I really had no real concept of what that was until I got to Louisville. And so for me, the biggest surprise was being able to understand how intentional and how impactful the work has been, certainly at the city level here in Louisville, but even nationally, right? Like understanding strategically what we have built as a National Urban League movement was really kind of phenomenal to be able to see and to understand the inner workings of how all that came together.
Cool. One last question before we take our break.
Yeah.
And that's going to, well, this is the doozy. You can answer either one of this three-part question. What challenge do you see for the league and or the city and or the country? So you can pick either one. So I'll simplify it. What's the biggest challenge you think facing the league in trying to do and achieve what you want to here in the city?
Sure. Scale, right? Like, and really the challenge is battling with fatigue. So particularly over the last 3-4 years, we've done a lot, right? Like, so we built the Sports and Learning Center down there on 30th and Muhammad Ali. And so a lot of people heard about that. A lot of people heard about the work that we were doing throughout the pandemic. You know, that's a $54 million facility. We had to raise a whole lot of money to do it. And then obviously we were still raising money for the work that we are doing, and we've been very successful at doing that. But you know, there's this notion that, well, the league has enough, or that the league has received enough. And yeah, we've been fortunate enough to get, you know, tens of millions of dollars to be able to do the work that we need to do. But the reality is that Black people in this city are facing billion-dollar problems, right? And so this idea that, you know, somehow we've achieved or we've arrived or there's enough that has happened is something we're gonna have to battle with, because we need to scale. Like, we have proven concept. We know that the work that we do means well. We've seen the numbers. We know that we're effective, but we've got to hit population level numbers. And so we've got to be able to grow that work to be able to reach more people so that we can make better changes for everybody.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. So Ben Johnson, your host of Metro Matters. We're getting ready to take a quick break.
The traffic unit is targeting the enforcement in areas where those crashes are happening and the behaviors that are causing and contributing to the crashes. We experienced 117 fatal crashes last year, of which 76% were not wearing a restraint. If we could just encourage folks just to wear their seatbelt, that's going to significantly reduce that number. In addition to that, speed. Speed is a factor in most crashes. The thing is even if you're doing everything right, but you're going a little too fast, you don't have the same opportunity to avoid somebody doing something in front of you if you're going too fast. So again, we're encouraging folks to put the phone down, wear their seatbelt, and slow down and give those that safe reaction distance. So again, you have an out. You have the ability to stop. You have the ability to avoid these crashes.
All righty. Ben Johnson back with Metro Matters here during the holiday season. Again, not only enjoy your holidays, but make it a point to, one, enjoy your family, and two, watch out for the babies. You know, I'm in recreation and we got a lot of little kids running around doing things and might not be paying attention on them scooters, bikes, and skates. So I'm asking the adults to be extra vigilant. Today, our guest is Lyndon Pryor, the newly appointed president and CEO of the Urban League. I hope you heard the first part of the show. Very informative. Now we're going to transition to something a little lighter, a little more fun. We're going to pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
the track.
Mm-hmm.
I have been there for formal events. I have been there for track meets. I have been there for expos. I mean, that thing is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So for those who have not been there, tell them what they're missing.
Yeah, so it is a state-of-the-art indoor track facility, but really just an event venue.
Yeah.
And so we can host lots of different things. To your point, lots of different things that are happening there. But the important thing is that it sits on what once was 24 acres of contaminated land right in the heart of the Russell neighborhood. Right? Like that property sat there for more than 20 years, absolutely unusable and contaminated. And we have transformed that into a space that is vibrant, that is beautiful, and that is in use, and giving back to this community, not just by providing a space for activity, for young people, for athletes, and for community organizations, but literally actually contributing to the economy. Last year, we know that just on track events alone, the track generated more than $9 million in economic impact for this city, right? And so it is giving back tenfold what we have put into it. And so it is doing phenomenal work there. And so if you have the opportunity, go check it out. You can always go walk on the outside track. It is open from dawn to dusk. We got lights out there for people out there all the time, working out, walking their dog, having a good time, enjoying that. But certainly when we have meets, which is now indoor track season, go check us out. We got a huge one coming up in January. January 20th is our HBCU meet. The week before that actually will be the Louisville Urban League meet. And so both events are great opportunities to go out and see the facility and go see some world-class athletes.
So you went there. It was further down my list. You know, the HBCU thing.
Yeah.
So let's definitely let's push that a little bit. Push that a little bit harder in terms of the track meet, because I've been there the last few years. It's good and growing.
Yep.
Give some more information because we need some assistance.
Sure.
I'll have you with that.
Yeah, so the HBCU meet is a partnership that we have with Kentucky State University, as well as USATF, or USA Track and Field Kentucky. They are meet directors, and it is sponsored by Humana. And so this will be the third year that we have done this event, and it has been really a phenomenal partnership, and it's really just an opportunity for us to highlight and showcase HBCUs and HBCU athletes for the city of Louisville. And so we are inviting everybody to come out on January 20th. Tickets are up on sale at nortonslc.com. You can go and purchase your tickets. They'll be $5 for kids, $15 for an adult. But this year we're actually doing something special. We're gonna have a kickback for the grown folks if you want to come join us. So we'll have some food for you to participate in, a little bit something different than just your regular old stadium food. Come hang out, but we'll also have a bar available for people to come, network, have a good time, and just really enjoy the meet. We'll have DJ John Q, who'll be DJing the entire meet. It's just going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Right now, we've got 12 schools confirmed, and we're looking to have up to 20. So we've got a few more who are going to be on tap, but it's going to be a phenomenal event. Schools from all over the country are going to come and run. We'll have some tables for schools. If you want to come and introduce your young person to a particular school, get to know about them, we'll have representatives from different universities there for them to check out and talk about. So it's all around just a great event. We really hope people to come out, will come out and have a good time.
Right, and so I'm also president of the Education First Foundation.
That's
we do
right.
the showcase of HBCU, and we're partnering with the league on this because what we want to do is make Kentucky more of a destination for recruiters, particularly for HBCUs. And we figure, hey, if we can stress the educational component, you all are stressing the athletic component, these things go together, we can see what we can make happen.
Absolutely.
Mr. Ben, we have a phone call.
Sure. Welcome, caller.
My question was in reference to the HBCU Classic that he was discussing. I understand the tickets are on sale at nhc.com. However, are the tickets available as well in person? Can you purchase it at the day of the event? event, or you have to go to nhc.com to purchase tickets? And secondly, what time does this HBCU Track and Field Classic begin?
Yes, thank you for that question. So you will be able to purchase tickets the day of the event, unless we are somehow sold out, which would be amazing. That would be a great problem to have. But you will be able to purchase tickets at the box office on the day of the event, or you can purchase them online at nortonslc.com and go and get them in advance, but you'll be able to do either. In terms of the time of the meet, it is tentatively slated to start around 9 o'clock. And so the reason that it's tentative is just because it depends on the number of athletes that we have running. Like I said, we've got a few more schools that are slated to join us. And so if we end up with more schools, we may have to kick it and start a little bit earlier. But right now we're looking to start around 9:30 in the morning. But we will, as we get closer to the event, we'll also post online the actual schedule of the events. And so you can see exactly when we're starting and when some of those premium events are going to take place.
Great. Thank you, caller. And again, for those of you who are interested in the HBCU aspect of it, reach out to the Urban League on Facebook, reach out to the Showcase of HBCU on Facebook. And what we would really love is for a lot of alums to come out to represent, wear your colors, reach out to your universities. So again, we can really make Louisville a destination for HBCU recruiters, which would just provide more opportunities for our young people.
Yeah. And let me just add to this, Ben, and I appreciate that y'all are partnering with us on this, and not just for HBCU alums, but for our Black Greeks. We've got a lot of our NPAC alumni organizations that are in town, and you certainly can speak to this better than I can. That the HBCU experience is different, right? And it's different on all fronts, not just on campus, but when it comes to football games, when it comes to basketball games, when it comes to track meets, we do that a little different, right? It's a different type of vibe, and so that is what this is. It is a different type of feel. It is not going to be your standard type of track meet that maybe you're used to, or your kids run in for school and all this. This is going to have a little bit different feel to it. It's going to be family, and we want people to come and experience that, because we also want our kids to understand that the HBCU experience is different. And if that is the route that they choose to go, we want them to get a taste of that right here in Louisville. And so come out, check us out, have a good time. Everybody is welcome. It is going to be a really, really fun time.
True. And, since you went there, and actually, so you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I do.
So there was just a Celebration Bowl. You said we do things a little different.
There was.
And Florida A&M happened to win. Well, really didn't happen to win, and we knew it was coming.
Right.
But won the Black College National Championship this year. It was called our third homecoming. People were coming from all over the country planning to go. Huge event in Atlanta. You said economic driver.
Yep.
And what ended up happening is, as a result of that, it's just continuing to grow, and the exposure and the opportunities. And that game actually outdrew most of the FCS bowl games that day, and has had a larger attendance than some that have happened since. So it's just like you said, that sense of family, that family reunion kind of thing. So I know we are getting short on time. I'm a youth person. Yeah. So what else the league got going on for young people?
Yeah, so the big thing that we have for young people is we are trying to close this achievement gap, and so we are providing intensive tutoring for JCPS kids, K through 12. We are paying for kids to go to Kumon to get tutoring in math and reading if they need it. We are also paying for kids to go, high school students, to participate in our Equitas Prep or ACT Prep classes. And here's the thing about both those things. I want to make sure that I say this to people. If you're paying attention to JCPS and you're paying attention to the numbers that just came out before break at the school board, we got a lot of kids who are struggling, a lot of kids who are behind in our school district, and we are not going to be able to catch them up with just going to school alone. Like, it has to happen outside of the school building. It's got to happen at home, at the kitchen table. But some of our kids also need and will benefit from extra tutoring and intensive tutoring. And so we are here providing that for our students. One of the things that I want to tell parents, and I want you to hear me well, right? Progress is not proficiency. Right? So just because your child seems to be moving forward, or they're going to pass from one grade to the next, does not necessarily mean that they are proficient in all the places and areas that they need to be proficient in. And so we want to make sure that they are getting the help that they need in order to be truly proficient in math and reading and in other areas as well. And so definitely look us up. We are providing that. I mean, we are paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for these kids to participate. These Kumon tutoring sessions are not cheap. ACT prep is not cheap, but we are covering the cost because our kids deserve it. And so that is one of the major things that we are doing, in addition to Project Ready, where we're still taking kids on college tours and career exploration and doing all that stuff as well. But we are absolutely invested in the future of our young people. Great.
Well, we appreciate it. It was an absolute pleasure
having
you here. I have a few closing commercials. Jobs. We have them. So you want to work for the Parks Department, especially the Recreation Division, www.bestparksever.com. Follow us on social media. We just finished a successful basketball league at the California Community Center that was run by the teens, so don't tell me what the young people can't do. We're having a tree planting and MLK Day, so look us up online to find out what's going on with that. We're having our Derby Festival events coming up, and we actually participate in the bed race. We participate in the parade. So if you want to help us out with that and be a part of that fun event, then do that. Again, we're on all your social media platforms, and we would just love to have you work with us, play with us, escape with us. So that's who we are. Also 574-7275 if you want to find out more about any of the things that we have going on at Louisville Parks and Recreation. Mr. President, Lyndon Pryor, thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
All of our viewers out there, thank you for tuning in to Metro Matters on Metro TV.